Hi! On this one, guess what? We had a little safety with the car. We've got seatbelts. Let's go. These are the belts I'm going to throw in the car. They're from Retro Sound or Retro Belt. Pretty generic GM style. It's got the GM clasp on there. Real nice. These are for bucket seats, so it comes with a hard plastic so it sits up so you never have to like reach down in between your center console and your seat in order to try to find it, which I think is nice. Also have belts for the back. Got 2 sets of those because if you fit 3 people back there, I mean, you're barely going to be able to fit full-size adults back there anyway. But I just want them just in case. And it came with like a hardware kit, but installation-wise, pretty generic. They kind of give you some rough guidelines of how it all goes, but you're on your own on this, and hopefully maybe I can give you a few tips and tricks or whatever troubles I run into along the way. This piece here is for the B-pillar, for the top mount on the 3-point, and I think I'm going to actually weld this in, TIG weld this in, figure out where it needs to go, recess it in, and weld it in, because I don't know if you're supposed to screw that in or what, but I wouldn't trust sheet metal screws to save my life, so definitely going to weld that in. And just in case I don't have enough brackets, I've got a couple of these All-Star Performance seatbelt brackets. It's part number right there. You probably pick them up on Amazon for pretty cheap. So, yeah. What else? Oh, it comes with like these bushing sleeve things, and I'm guessing so that these can like pivot and move, but they don't fit inside the hole whatsoever. So I think I'm gonna have to like open those up a little bit in order to make sure that these can move around, because you don't want to like bolt it in and then all of a sudden you can't move it because your seating position moves. You get what I'm saying? But that was kind of weird to me, so I'm gonna have to drill into that. Yeah, so I'm gonna mock all this up and kind of figure out where everything needs to go. Hopefully whip this out real quick. I'm actually first going ahead and modifying the seatbelts on how they mount up, because I want to get these Delrin or plastic or whatever these things are, hard plastic, to fit inside here. And these are super hard metal, and basically I tried to take my step bit and drill into it, but it dulled my step bits out like real quick. So I ended up taking a carbide bit on my Dremel and just kind of like going around and around and around, and then cleaning it up with the step bit until I got the size I want. So now I got a nice press fit in. So now that will be able to ride on the bolt instead of being smushed in the bolt. So now you can pivot and move around and stuff like that, so it's not locked in one spot. First part I'm going to install are these right here. Before I took the seats out, I made marks on the ground where these sit most comfortable. You kind of want them at an angle like this, pointing up, and it'll fit in between the center console that I'm going to make. But basically, I'm going to clean up these areas really well underneath the car, and then I'm going to bolt it all together, because this is the washer that goes underneath, and then the bolts will go through, and then you got to tighten it up with a nut. I'm going to clean all these up, get all the galvanized off of these, and then weld them to it, and then weld the nut to the plate when it's all tight together, because I don't want to have to like reach up underneath there and try to tighten everything all at once. That's really dumb. And yeah, I don't want to deal with that. So I have a welder. I'm just going to weld it all together. All right, got them bolted in. Basically using another washer to kind of sandwich them back together. You see I have the ridge to deal with, so I'm gonna show you what I got going on underneath. It's a tight fit. So yeah, I cleaned up The floor, hit it with some weld-through primer. I actually ended up cutting off a section there. And then I did use some masking tape and tape these up in here so I could bolt them in. But now I'm gonna just weld a little bit, just kind of stitch weld this thing in. So now I don't have to deal with trying to ever, you know, getting underneath the car to bolt the seat or the seat belts in and out. All right, kind of went crazy on this one. I didn't really need to do that much, but TIG welding on your back, that's a first. But you know what? That washer isn't going anywhere. I basically just did a couple stitch welds on that one. But perfect. Now I never have to get underneath the car in order to do the seat belts. So next I want to get the B-pillar section in. I marked out where it needed to go. Basically sat in my truck and kind of just eyeballed it according to where that one was for a comfortable position. There's several layers of steel here, so I'm not really worried about it. You can see all the spot welds that are in there for how much is stacked down there. I'm thinking, because I need this to fit kind of flush, because there's a trim that goes around here and I don't want it to interfere because this stuff's pretty thick. So I'm gonna drill out these spot welds, mark out where this is gonna go, and just cut this first layer off and then have it sit inside. There's a lip, there's two pieces of metal there. Well, like that. Have it sit inside flush with that and then TIG weld that all in. Then I also have to drill out and make room for the bolt to go through. So yeah, let me cut this up a minute and then show you when I'm done with that. All right, you can see I got that first layer cut out, and then I basically had to take my Dremel with a carbide bit and come up in here and clean it all out and open up a hole there for the bolt to have clearance for it. But now I think I'm actually gonna MIG weld this in because my gaps are not all that great. Maybe I'll TIG it. I don't know. Maybe I'll attempt to TIG it. Heat control a little bit better. So yeah, let me burn this one in a minute. See how it goes. So I did actually end up MIG welding that in. I couldn't get control over the TIG enough in order to be comfortable with it. So I just basically cranked the MIG up and like really made sure I hit every single layer. And that I feel safe with that. Ground it all flush. Yeah, that's gonna work just fine. Put a little too much heat in it right there and burn the paint a little bit, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to avoid that. So I'm gonna have to clean that up and kind of touch it up. But yeah, now I just gotta repeat it on the other side. Other side's all done, welded in. Looks really good. Next up though, let's see if I can turn around here. So this is one of the belts just hanging in where it needed to be bolted. But I need for these to be down in this area. My first thought was that I was gonna try to put it on this panel, but I think it's just too thin. Easiest way to do it, because there's actually like 3 layers of metal right here. So I think the strongest section that I can work with is this. So I have these left over from the All-Star Performance Kit. And I think I'm just gonna drill 2 holes, mount this one on the back, this one slightly forward, link them together with that, and then use fat washers underneath there. There's plenty of room. I'm not gonna weld in these ones because I can easily get to them by just reaching my hand underneath the car right here. The only reason why I did these ones here is because there's no way I could, you know, reach in by myself. So keep it simple, drill a couple holes, bolt it up. So as much as I want to throw the front seats in now and test it out, I got to do the back seat ones yet. So I'm going to just put the back seat base in to kind of know where it needs to sit, because I might actually have to cut a hole in right there for the belt to pass through. But I guess I'll find out here in a minute. Got that rear seat in, but I wasn't expecting it to be out so far. I kind of got lucky, but not lucky. It's hitting right against the seat belt. I might modify this frame when I recover it in order to shrink it a little bit, like get it tighter to the wall. But for seat belts, I mean, this car's pretty wide. I think this one, I'm just literally gonna go through the fender, or the inner fender there, and then put it down that way. And then this one, just straight back, put a hole in, I think like that. That should work. Both sides, keep it simple. I might actually do the washer thing again on this one, weld it up, and then weld it to the car in order to keep it a lot easier to bolt in and out. Yeah, that's a plan. Let me do that. There we go. You can see right where I welded them in. I did have to bend them in order to fit to the contours, because this contours this way, and this one contours that way. So basically hit them with a hammer in the vise in order to make them fit just right. And then once they were flush, bolted them in, welded them in. I know they're gonna work great. I'm not gonna put the belts on, but you get the idea. Obviously I gotta do some modifications to that seat once I start going on the interior. But what I want to do is throw my seat in and sit in this thing and buckle up. Let's try this out. What? That feels so good. Holy crap. Safety. That's awesome. Yeah, it's at a nice placement. It's like right on my shoulder, and it's far enough back that it feels good. It's not like riding on my neck or anything, and this is like right across my lap. I like that. Awesome. So this is where I'm gonna call it for this video. Seat belts, we got them in. Thank you very much for watching, you guys. Again, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We need a shifter. I think that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna put a shifter in here, and maybe a center console. So thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.